I'm Jared Dillian. This is the Jared Dillian Show. If you want to call to talk about your money, please call 844-305-7800. That's 844-305-7800. This is the Jared Dillian Show. You can also go to my website, which is jareddillianmoney.com. That's jareddillianmoney.com, or you can follow me on Twitter at DailyDirtNam. Okay, so I don't want to get into the coffee argument again, but here we go. We're going to get into the coffee argument again. Let's say you could give up coffee, and with the money you save from giving up coffee, you could save that money and invest it in the stock market and earn some gaudy rate of return and end up with $200,000 in 20 years just from giving up coffee. You give up coffee and you can have $200,000. Here's the problem with that argument. It ignores the psychological reality that a system that denies a small daily luxury in hopes of returns decades into the future will gain near zero compliance. Zero compliance. Nobody can do it. People can't do it. I get aggravated. A lot. By the way, I shouldn't look. I am in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Okay, not a great town, right? It's very nice. Weather is amazing. Beaches, stuff to do. I like it a lot. I've lived here for 10 years. When I say not a great town, it's not a wealthy town, okay? And like any town, there are wealthy people. There's definitely nice neighborhoods, but it's not like Seattle where you have like Jeff Bezos, okay? That doesn't exist here. There's some affluent people, but there's just not a lot of wealth, okay? At one point, we had like 14 strip clubs. They passed an ordinance. They shut most of them down. I think there's 4 left. And it's like Tombstone here. Like I do not go into bars. I do not go into bars. Every week you read in the news, like, man shot at bar, shooting at a bar. Like, it literally is like Tombstone. Like, people like have these concealed carry permits and they walk into a bar with a gun and they get loaded and they get into a fight and then somebody gets killed. Happens all the time. There's poverty here. There's drugs. I mean, it's, there's, what I am saying is, I am not telling you this stuff wearing my velvet slippers in Greenwich, Connecticut. Okay, like I live in a real place with real problems. There's not a lot of money here, and I can tell you that these types of situations where you're asking people to give up coffee, it just doesn't work. And the people who are saying these things are multi-millionaires, just stupidly rich. It's just insane. And one of the worst things that you can say about somebody is that they're out of touch. That's a damning allegation. You tell somebody, you're very out of touch. Somebody said it to me once. It stuck with me. And I never want to be out of touch, and it's not easy to give up coffee. It's not easy. The reason you drink coffee is so you can take a dump. And if you don't drink coffee, you're going to be miserable. That's it. So people, if you said to somebody, you can have $100,000 in 20 years if you give up coffee, they can't do it because people have trouble seeing the future. People live in the present. They have to go to the bathroom. They will buy the coffee. And people actually do that mental math. People are smart. They do this math and they say, okay, I can have $200,000 in 20 years and be miserable for 20 years, or I can just drink the coffee. It's like, you can't ask people to do that. That is a rational decision. And I make these decisions on a daily basis when I go out for lunch. I could eat a can of beans in my office every day for like $1.50. I could do that. I like to go out. I like to get some fresh air, and I can eat a salad. Now you say, okay, Dillian, you can make a salad at home and bring it in, but now, like the night before, 9 o'clock at night, I'm making a salad and I'm putting it in a container and I'm bringing dressing and then I put it on the counter, or, it's in the fridge. So then I get up in the morning to get my stuff and I forget the salad in the fridge. Happens to me all the time. I gave up trying to bring lunch. I literally would just forget it and it would be at home and I would have to go out to eat anyway. So it's a huge hassle. The $15 I spend on a salad is worth it and it's going to taste better. So I spend a couple $1,000 a year on salad. Great. So if you set a couple $1,000 a year times 20 years is $40,000, and you compound that and maybe you get $80,000, is it worth it to give up $80,000? And the answer is yes. And the reason why the answer is yes is because I am making plenty of other money. So that gets us into the abundance subject. And a lot of people say, well, why bother saving it all? Just go out and make millions of dollars. And I'm definitely sympathetic to that idea. I'm sympathetic to that idea, but you can't do that either. You can't do that either because most people aren't capable of going out and making millions of dollars. Most people are capable of making an extra $20,000, which is a material improvement in people's lives, but most people can't go out and make stupid money. But I do tell people to focus on the revenue side, not the expense side, because that is where you can have the most impact. You can if you're making $60,000 a year, you can find a job making $80,000 a year. And you can get $20,000 more in revenue. If you're making $60,000 a year, it's very tough to come up with $20,000 by cutting expenses when you're making $60,000 a year. You might be able to do it, but you will not be happy. And that is my point. People can give up big luxuries, but they can't give up small luxuries. That's really what it is. You could live in a smaller house. You can live in you can be in a house that's 20% smaller and save $100,000 off the purchase price and save $70,000 in interest over the life of the loan. And you're going to be in that house and you're not going to be like, this house sucks. I can't believe I'm living in this tiny house. Nobody does that. You can give up the big luxuries. You can give up the expensive cars. People can give up big luxuries, but they can't give up small luxuries. 25% of the cars on the road out there are more than 16 years old, which is nuts. Those are 2004 cars. 25% of the cars on the road are more than 16 years old. And the great thing about those cars is that they are fully depreciated and they are paid for. I hope they are paid for. The average age of a car is 11 years old from 2009. Nobody is depressed because they don't have a new car. You can deal with the old car. You can give up the big luxuries, but you can't give up the small luxuries. It's okay to have dreams. It's okay. There's something that you want to buy, then save up. Work hard, save up, and do it. Don't use debt. You want to buy an 8,000 square foot house. Great. You save first. You work towards it. You will get there eventually. I encourage you to have dreams and work towards those dreams. But if you give up small luxuries, you are going to drive yourself insane. So let's talk about what constitutes a luxury, okay? Is a vacation a small luxury or a large luxury? Everybody needs to take vacations. Expensive vacations are large luxuries. Cheap vacations are small luxuries. You can have a cheap vacation. I have done my share of camping over the years. It's great. I like camping. By the way, I would much rather camp than stay in a nasty hotel room. I'd much rather spend $20 camping than $60 on a nasty hotel room any day. Come to think of it, it's been a really long time since I've stayed in a cheap hotel. I either stay in 4-star hotels or I'm camping. Are clothes a small luxury or big luxury? It's the same thing. Expensive clothes are a big luxury. Cheap clothes are a small luxury. Clothes are kind of a special case because it's hard to make more money if you don't have nice clothes. You have to pay attention to your appearance. What about food? Is food a small luxury or a big luxury? Expensive food is a big luxury. You don't have to go out to like some fancy $300 dinner, and you won't miss it. You won't miss it. You don't have to shop at Whole Foods. I have said before the two things you're allowed to spend money on. There's two things in life that you're allowed to spend lots and lots of money on. Number one is a mattress. Number two is air conditioning. You spend 8 hours a day in bed. You want to talk about quality of life. You want to be comfortable when you're in bed. You spend 8 hours a day in bed. You're allowed to spend money on air conditioning. You don't want to be miserable all the time. Are Christmas gifts a small luxury or a big luxury? Christmas gifts are a big luxury. People spend $7,000 on Christmas, and it all goes on the credit card. Have a budget for each person like $100. Of course, I'm sort of the Grinch. I don't really care about Christmas. So it is all about balance. Yes, you want to have an abundance mentality, but you can't spend like a madman. Yes, you can have the small luxuries, but make sure they don't turn into big luxuries. It is hard to preach a middle-of-the-road solution. It is hard to preach a middle-of-the-road solution, but extremes of anything are always bad. Balance, my friends, balance. I'm Jared Dillian. This is The Jared Dillian Show.
The Jared Dillian Show.